Castro, Dean of the School of Liberal Arts, and proud to be working with brilliant Medgar Evers students. Last night in teacher education, we hosted a reception for alumni, and so many Medgar Evers alumni came back and talked about their graduate work, their new positions as principals and assistant principals, and so I know that you are going to do very, very well. So welcome today to the Presidential Lecture Series. The lecture series invites a broad range of highly accomplished men and women from the professional and academic, artistic and political worlds to dialogue with the Medgar Evers College community on issues of historical and contemporary importance. So I'm hoping that you will enjoy today's lecture. We will begin with a moment of reflection given by Dr. Marcia Bain-Smith, who is a DSW, a doctorate in social work. She is an associate professor, the Department of Urban Studies, Queens College, past chair of the Caribbean Women's Health Association. Please welcome Dr. Marcia Bain-Smith.
Good afternoon. Is there anybody out there? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sounds more like it. After waking you up, I'm going to ask you to get quiet for a minute. Let us reflect on the great work that is being done here at Medgar Evers College. First of all, we ought to be very thankful, very grateful to the president of the college, Dr. Edison Jackson, for having created the Medgar Evers College Presidential Lecture Series, because it provides an opportunity to invite a broad range of highly accomplished professionals to dialogue with the members of the Academy, as well as all of you, the student body, on issues of historical and contemporary significance. And that, my friends, is a critical part of your education. As part of the President's Lecture Series, a group of community organizations got together, of course, with Medgar Evers College leading the way, on Friday, October 22nd, 2004. The other participating organizations were the Caribbean Women's Health Association, the Greater New York chapter of the Links Incorporated, and the Dedicators Incorporated. And we sponsored a reception to launch the naming of one of the Medgar Evers College Presidential Lecture Series, which will be known as the Dame Billie Miller Lecture. And we agreed to do so in the month of March as part of the college's efforts to recognize women on the international stage. It was also done in part to commemorate United Nations Day 2004, which celebrated women's rights and empowerment, gender equity in the new millennium. And the reason we did that is because of what Dame Billie Miller represents. And I'd like to share a little bit of her history, her journey with you. Dame Billie Miller was the guest of honor at that reception. And she has a political career that spans 30 years. She was re-elected in May 2003 as a member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown in Barbados for the 7th time, and appointed senior minister retaining the portfolios of foreign affairs and foreign trade. Technically, her political career began in 1976 when she was elected member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown. She served as Minister of Health and National Insurance, and she was the first woman to sit as a member of cabinet in Barbados. Now, I know that a large number of students here are of Caribbean ancestry. And I want you to go home and talk to your parents, so that you can understand the magnitude of Dame Billie Miller's accomplishments. She was a woman who was appointed to a cabinet post in a Caribbean country where power was male in '76. That is worthy of commemorating today. Later, she went on to become Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Foreign Trade. She has served as Secretary Treasurer of Barbados. This is Bar Association and the organization of the Caribbean Bar Association. For several years, she was the only woman practicing at the private bar. Her practice was mainly as a civil court lawyer, where she carved out a specialty in family law. On the international stage, she was president of the board of directors of the Inter-American Parliamentary Group on Population and Development for the Caribbean and Latin America. She has been the coordinator of CARICOM ministerial spokespersons with the responsibility for external negotiations in bilateral and World Trade Organizational matters. At the national level, she was a member of the Barbados Family Planning Association, the Barbados National Trust, and the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. Clearly, we are talking about a woman who was a legend, and it is for this reason that we celebrate her legacy that she passes on, not only to all the female students in the audience, but to all of us, men and women alike. Her record of accomplishments stands. And so today, we pay tribute to Dame Billie Miller with this special lecture by having as our guest lecturer, Dr. Wilma Roscoe, Senior Vice President for External Affairs for the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education. I thank you and enjoy the lecture.
And now we're in for a musical treat. But before we do that, let me acknowledge the persons on the dais. You will hear me introduce our guest lecturer in just a moment, but please acknowledge from Mass Communications Professor Jimmy Jenkins. Dr. Mark O'Mason, Executive Director, Caribbean Women's Health Association. And now we will hear from Simona Promazzi Quartet. Please give them a round of applause. Let's hear it for the Simona Bramazi Quartet. Beautiful. And yourself? We'd like to welcome President Jackson to the stage. Welcome, President Jackson. And we'd also like to acknowledge in the midst of Women's History Month, because there are women history makers sitting in front of us right now. You all will make history, because preparation and opportunity will take you to success. Our Deputy Borough President, Yvonne Graham, the Honorable Yvonne Graham. Thank you for joining us. I'd also like to acknowledge my brother Dean, the Dean of the School of Business, John Flateau. And even though it's Women's History Month, we will always applaud our brothers who are here, and leading the effort in our college is Peter Holloman. Peter, will you stand up? We'd like to acknowledge you from the Center for Black Male Empowerment. The president is still going to give me the honor to introduce our guest lecturer. She is my link sister, and so there are many, many reasons that I am proud of her. If you look in your booklet, I'm going to highlight just a few things for you. Dr. Wilma J. Roscoe presently serves as Senior Vice President for External Affairs of the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, NAFEO. She's been the Vice President at NAFEO for over 30 years, and she's dedicated her professional life as a continuous and dynamic force in keeping the doors of opportunity open. Her well-developed historical perspective has enabled her to foster, develop, and refine a distinct vision for the future of historically Black colleges and universities. She was one of the founders and publishers of the Black Excellence magazine. Under her leadership as Vice President, which includes serving twice as an interim president and CEO, Dr. Roscoe and the presidents of NAFEO have consistently been recognized as prevailing leaders and driving forces of leadership that has brought to fruition the NAFEO-sponsored National Conference on Blacks in Higher Education and the Presidential Peer Seminar. While we talked earlier, she remembered the days that she sat in an auditorium like this to listen to presidential lectures, and I remember when I went to a historically Black college, Morgan University, that I sat in an audience and had people talk to me too, who cared and who were making contributions throughout the country. To further advance her vision of promoting closer working relationships among HBCUs, she directed the University Linkages program in Egypt. This program brought awareness and heightened knowledge on an international scale of the role of Black institutions and educators in the world. To accomplish this mission, Dr. Roscoe led teams of HBCU representatives on tours to Côte d'Ivoire, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Senegal, South Africa, India, Brazil, Morocco, Egypt, Greece, Spain, Taiwan, and Canada. She initiated the establishment of the Louis Stokes Leadership Development Program, Initiative for Historically Black Colleges. Dr. Roscoe established a research action team of HBCU female scientists to initiate research skills development programs between HBCU African American female scientists and African female scientists with universities in South Africa and Switzerland. These programs are significant among outstanding accomplishments of NAFEO and Dr. Roscoe's leadership. Dr. Roscoe, a native of South Carolina, has received numerous civic and professional awards and honors during her many years as a career educational administrator in institutions of higher education. Her most recent was being inducted into the Livingstone College Leaders Hall of Fame and into the National Black College Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. She was featured in Black Women in Sisterhood for Action 2003 calendar for the month of February, Distinguished Black Women. She received a BS from Livingstone College, North Carolina, and she has received honorary degrees from Miles College, Arkansas Baptist College, Shaw University, and Livingston College, her alma mater. She is equally well known for her service to her church, her community, including participating in the National Coalition of Black Meeting Planners, the National Political Congress of Black Women Incorporated, the National Council of Negro Women, the Links Incorporated, the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, and the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated sorority. Dr. Roscoe and her late husband are the parents of 3 adult children. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Wilma J. Roscoe.
Thank you very, very much for those words. I'm not sure that I deserve all of that, but thank you anyway. Well, good afternoon to my friend of many years, President Jackson. I'm very happy to see that he was able to join us. And good afternoon to the faculty and to the students, the most important group of people at this college. I am truly honored to address the topic of leadership during the spring 2004-2005 presidential lecture series at Medgar College. I do bring you greetings from the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, known as NAFEO, and from the new president of NAFEO, Dr. Leslie Baskerville. NAFEO was established in 1969 by presidents of historically black colleges and universities, including public, private, 2-year, 4-year, and graduate and professional schools. NAFEO serves as a cohesive voice for all historically black colleges and universities and interact with all branches of government on behalf of black colleges and universities. NAFEO distinguished membership also includes some 14 predominantly black institutions such as Medgar College. HBCUs, from a historical perspective, form the cornerstone of black leadership in this country. The vast majority of our black political, academic, and social pioneers are graduates of black colleges. Just to name one or two, Dr. David Satcher, who is a graduate of Morehouse College. Ms. Jesse Jackson is a graduate of North Carolina A&T, and of course, all of you probably know Tom Johnner. He's a graduate of Tuskegee University. And a large number of influential black women also attended HBCUs. Oprah Winfrey is a graduate of Tennessee State University. Toni Morrison is a graduate of Howard University, such as your president. Dr. Ruth Simmons, who was the first African American to lead an Ivy League institution, Brown University, graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor's degree from Dillard University. Erykah Badu attended Grambling State University. And I asked my staff for this name. Sunshine Anderson attended North Carolina Central University, among numerous others. It took a tremendous amount of courage and sacrifice to achieve the success and remarks that we have realized today. Black colleges have struggled and progress has been made. To get a glimpse of the future, you must study lessons of the past and include those that brought progress and those that brought pain. We are delighted to proclaim how proud we are of the historically and predominantly black colleges and universities. As you may know, NAFEO institutions have educated generations of African Americans. We are proud that HBCUs, as we refer to the black colleges, enroll almost 18% of all African American college students, and these institutions confer 30% of all undergraduate degrees to African American nationally. Black colleges produce the largest number of African American baccalaureate recipients who eventually go on to receive doctorate degrees, especially in the sciences. And HBCUs are among the many choices that Black students select for higher education, including both 2- and 4-year private and public colleges and universities. Leaders in higher education are often the source of infrequent and most of the time much deserved praise, but also most frequently unfair ridicule and harsh treatment. Don't take either personally. In other words, don't think you are as good as they say you are, nor as bad. Take praise and ridicule as moment in time to learn from them and move on as quickly as possible to another phase of your life and career as it is awaiting you. If you are certain that your decision is correct, maintain a positive attitude about every trail encountered as a leader as a result of your decision. For while no one wants to go through life, through tough times, it is difficult to move through life without tough times. Negative experiences, however, presents opportunities for lessons learned and for growth and development. During my career development, I remember agreeing that we should honor a senator at the NAFEO conference from the Deep South. This senator had reformed to support significant legislation for Black colleges and universities. On the same evening, we were honoring a Congressional Black Caucus member. The Black Caucus member was not happy, to say the least. We did not want to offend the Black Caucus member. Therefore, we were faced with a dilemma of what to do. We decided that we would call the Congressional Black Caucus member to state to him that you have supported legislation for historically Black colleges and universities. You are our base of support, and we don't want to lose your support. So we'll honor you anytime during the conference that is convenient for you. We changed and honored the Southern senator at another time. My point is that even in a bad situation, stick to your guns, maintain your composure. Never let them see you sweat until the dust has settled. Additionally, opportunities may not come through the channels that you expect. So don't despair. If the opportunities that you have struggled for, if opportunities that you've struggled for will not materialize when and how you thought it would, your opportunity to show your value to the organization or institution will come right in the nick of time if you perform in an outstanding manner. The traditional value of compassion and caring for community, family, pride, and responsibility must be incorporated in our collective thinking across every city, state, and township in America. Colleges and universities, community organization, business and labor, political and religious leader must all work together. Otherwise, we will experience a plague of poverty of the spirit. Spiritual poverty, which transcends wealth, has been known to result in many of the pasts that plague our communities. The promise of America as a land of opportunity will only be realized when more people accept responsibilities for themselves, their families, and their total communities. This is of special importance to African Americans. Since we live in an interdependent and interrelated society, our individual fate is determined by individual action and largely by a sweep of forces in the broader societies. As leaders, we should anticipate the future and prepare for it in advance. The principle for success is that one must be aware of the broad external forces that will impact upon us. It is also essential for one to develop skills, understanding, and insight that will better position us to capitalize on the opportunities made possible by changes in the broader society. One of the steps you might take to achieve success is to identify and observe the broad sweep of external forces that will impact society and position yourself to benefit from those changes. As leaders, we must pursue opportunities, knowledge, and action. As you may have observed, I have led teams of presidents to foreign countries. The presidents were invited to the countries to become enlightened about the different languages and cultures of the countries. So we should seek international involvement because understanding the cultures of other countries is an important mission. For colleges and universities, the realities of today's economy mean that even for those students who are enrolled in college, competition for good jobs will be fierce. But the penalty for students not competing for the jobs are even higher if they do not compete. If they compete, they may succeed. If they don't compete, they most certainly will not succeed. Education is the ticket to success for those who are willing to compete and excel. Students and higher education leaders must be willing to invest time and talent in the exchange of knowledge, ideas, and giving services to humanity. For services to humanity is the rent we pay to occupy this space on earth. Whatever the future holds for each of us, we must acknowledge and accept responsibility for nourishing the African American community. We must embark upon the serious task of helping African Americans to survive and to thrive into the 21st century. Donate time, provide expertise and resources to a church or other religious institution that is working to spread good news in the communities of greater need. That is, making an effort to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and deliver those who are incarcerated. As women leaders in higher education, we must take an active role in addressing health issues that impact African American communities in Black colleges. Some notable African American women that have made tremendous contribution and continue to make an impact in our communities and the nation are Dr. Helena Gales, who's the first and only African American woman to head the National Center for HIV, STD, and TB Prevention Branch at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta. You may remember Dr. Jocelyn Elder was the first African American U.S. Surgeon General as a pediatrician in our nation top physician. Her agenda focuses on ensuring that youth and teens make responsible, healthy lifestyle choices. Dr. Donna Christensen, who is a Democrat from the Virgin Islands, is the only female physician in the U.S. Congress. She leads the Congressional Black Caucus Health Brain Trust and has been responsible for authoring legislation to end racial and ethnic health disparities that exist among our communities. The health of the African American community directly impacts the health of Black colleges. These two entities are interdependent upon each other. If our communities fail, so do the Black colleges. As women leaders, we are the gatekeepers of African American children and our communities. It is our duty and responsibility to ensure that the health of our leaders and of our institutions of higher education survive and be preserved for future generations. To students, your college years are very important. Learn to enjoy the moment as you prepare to one day be great leaders. Therefore, I leave with you this thought: support Black colleges in their efforts to prepare students to make the challenges of today, and your rewards will make a lasting difference for lifetime successful leadership. Congratulations to you students for having selected Medgar Evers College. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roscoe, for your lecture, and I want to say to our students that there were many wonderful messages that she shared with us. And one is that we have a responsibility to give back to our community. Service to humanity is the rent we pay to live on this earth. I have always said to you that one way of defining success is success occurs when preparation meets opportunity. And the only thing that we have some measure of control over is what? Preparation. It is also, Dr. Roscoe has shared with us, that there's something beautiful about our, and for you, for the fact that you are here at Medgar Evers College. Colleges across this nation, like and universities like Medgar Evers, have produced the intelligentsia for this nation. And so you are going to go forward and become part, the young ladies, be part of the leadership of the future. And for young men, you are going to also likewise walk in the footsteps of great leaders. You see, you can go to majority institutions, but they may not understand your psyche, your culture, nor do they necessarily want to give value to that which has made you. And so what Dr. Roscoe is saying to us, be proud, one, of who you are. Be proud of your lineage and your history, and understand that you got some work to do in this life. Understand what your calling is. Understand that we cannot progress as a nation, as a people, if you're going to be selfish about the gifts that you have been given by the Almighty. Thank you, Dr. Roscoe, for being here with us. And it's important that we have someone of Dr. Roscoe's achievement, a woman. This is Women History Month. Yes, give yourself a, yes, that's worth of a clap. And I can tell you that Dr. Roscoe has achieved greatness. And also she has faced challenges simply because of her gender, and then you can add race on top of that. But she has succeeded. She is successful. She has served under several presidents of the NAFEO, as well as dealing with presidents who have an awful lot of egos like Edison Jackson. But she has been able to maneuver through that and to work with us. And so that I want to say to our female students, you can be anything you want to be. All you got to do is work at it, because you have the innate ability to do even greater things. So do understand that there is a place for you in the larger society. But preparation, education. And Dr. Roscoe talked about education being the passport to the future. Now you know what a passport is all about. If you don't have a passport, you can't leave the United States. And if you don't have a passport coming in, you can't come in. It is a doorway. It allows you to have credibility. And so it is about education. We are, I know that the hour is almost, but we'll listen to, if you have 2 questions, we will be happy to entertain those if you want to ask Dr. Roscoe. 2 questions only. Otherwise, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
these two former political adversaries were going to sit down and break bread together. And I remember as they handed the menus to us to order our lunch, as I looked at the menu, all I could see across that page is my mother used to make me read the scripture in church growing up. Scripture said that he would prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. If I be faithful over few things, he make me rule over many things. And weeping may endure for a night. But if you keep fighting, if you keep praying, if you keep standing up, if you keep holding on, joy would come in the morning. We made it not because we were slick. We made it because we had faith, because we knew that God was on our side. We didn't know when, we didn't know how, but we were certain that the victory would be ours. That has been the story of our move for social justice, because we knew that if God be for us, it was more than the whole world against us. Thank you, brother.
Well, we'll be having a conversation. I'm amazed how every time we get together, the spirit has already moved. The book I brought with me tonight, none other than Martin Luther King's Why We Cannot Wait. And one of the things that he speaks about in this book is not only the malice, but the unconsciousness of racism as practiced in America today. How, as a communicator and leader, does one reach the humanity of those who are themselves oppressed and their oppression of us?
Well, I think that it is very challenging to try and touch the humanity of people who have themselves decided that there is nothing inhuman about what they're doing. What we must be very clear about is that slavery and segregation or apartheid in America could not have happened without the direct cooperation of the white church.
That's right.
Because they sanitized it. They blessed it. They said it was all right, and in fact participated in it.
That's right.
Because, as Dr. King also said, the most segregated place in America was 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. So therefore, if your moral compass tells you that it is right to discriminate, you don't even feel what you're doing is wrong. Because your minister, your key to heaven, your window that you look to the divine through, has told you that this is God's will. So one of the ways that we've had to deal with this is trying to also challenge the white church, which had corrupted the spirit of this nation. As well as those that felt that they could excuse racism as cultural and not only illegal, but also immoral. And I think that that is one of the things that we have to do. The other thing that I think Dr. King did, and Malcolm and others, is that we had to do it while being morally intact ourselves, to where we in many ways became superior morally to those that we were fighting, so we would not become polluted by their spirit. So, I'll give you an example. 1991, I was leading a march in Bensonhurst around Yusuf Hawkins. White man stabbed me. The first thing I did was I went to court and said that I forgave him. I didn't do that for him, I did that for me. Because if I had allowed him to pollute my spirit, I couldn't continue what I was doing.
Go ahead.
And I think that one of the most difficult things to do is to fight evil without internalizing the wickedness of those you fight.
If I may follow up, there was a determination by the National Council of Churches